Alright, this is part 4 of our lesson on applications of quadratic functions. Rocking the word problems, parabolas, quadratic function, quadratic formula, and all that. Alright, now we have Jason jumping off of a cliff into the ocean. Alright, I guess he's a thrill seeker, adrenaline junkie. Now, the height over time is modeled by this equation right here. Okay, time is in seconds, height is in feet. How long did it take for Jason to reach his maximum height? Okay, so here's the situation. Let's just draw this out. So we have some sort of a cliff happening. Okay, so here's Jason at the top of this cliff. Okay, and I'm assuming down below, well, you know, they said there's water down here, the ocean. Okay, so Jason's gonna jump. He's a jumper. Okay, so Jason's path is gonna do a parabola like this. Okay, so at this moment they are asking us for the maximum height. Alright, so the maximum height, also known as the vertex. Okay, so remember, this is going to be time and height. So the y value is going to be the height that we need. So let's find the vertex. In order to find the vertex, first we have to find the x value of the vertex, or the t value in this case. And that t value of the vertex will be opposite of b over 2a. Okay, so here's the equation for this jump. So opposite of b over 2a, that's going to be, let's see, negative 16, okay, because b is 16, over 2 times negative 16. You really shouldn't need a calculator for this at all. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, right? So it's going to be positive something. And these 16s are going to cancel out. So it's just going to be 1/2. It's going to be 1/2. Okay. We're talking about time in seconds. So 1/2, you know, half a second, or you could say 0.5 seconds. Of course, if you need to type this into a calculator because you just don't follow that little logic I just threw at you, you know, do what you have to do. I'm not going to just judge you. It's too late for that. So we have negative 16 over 2 times negative 16. Okay, I might judge you a little, but not to your face. Alright, so that's 1/2, like I said, 0.5. So fine, that's the x value, you know, or the t value of the vertex. So so we're dealing with 0.5 seconds, but we need the maximum height. So we need the y value that goes with this x value. So we can find that by putting this equation into our calculator and seeing the y value that goes with the x value. Alright, this is the same as taking 1/2 or 0.5 and plugging it in for t. Is that t to the t power? Alright, that really should have been a 2. Okay, just pretend that's 2. So anyway, table function. Alright, so what was it? Negative 16 t squared. My memory is horrible. Plus 16t plus 480. Okay, and where do we start? Well, we start at 0.5 seconds, alright, because that's what we want to know about. Okay, so at 0.5 seconds we are at 484 feet. Okay, so that is the height. That goes with this time. And this is the vertex, so that is the maximum height, 484 feet. Okay, so that's the answer to part A here. Wait. Okay, no. So this is the answer to A and B. So it says, how long did it take Jason to reach the maximum height? Okay, so that was the 0.5 seconds. Was how long it took to reach the maximum height. Okay, so 0.5 seconds. And then what was the highest point, the highest height that he reached? That was 484 feet. Okay, Jason hit the water after how many seconds? Okay, so now we're talking about when does Jason hit the water. Okay, we're talking about this point down here. Alright, well this will be a height of 0, okay? Because up here on the cliff, that's the 480 feet. Okay, that's where he's at 480 feet. But down here, this is going to be 0 feet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and use this equation, but we get to put 0 in for h. So if I do that, then I'm going to have 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 480. Okay, so we can just use the quadratic formula. First thing we do when we find the quadratic formula is we find the discriminant first, b squared minus 4ac. So b squared, so that's going to be 16 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 480. Alright, that'll give us the discriminant. Okay, that's a pretty big number. So 3,976. I'm sorry, 30,976. Alright, that's our discriminant. So let's go ahead and find the rest of the quadratic formula. Alright, so t will equal the opposite of b. Okay, so negative 16 plus or minus square root, and here goes the discriminant, all over 2a. Okay, so that's 2 times negative 16. Feel free to just put negative 32 here. So we're going to find, we can just put this in our calculator and find two solutions. Once from doing the plus version of this and once from doing the minus version. Alright, only one of these will be valid, but you don't always know until you type it in. Okay, so I'm going to do the plus version and then the minus version. Start in fraction mode. So negative 16 plus square root 30,976. So 30,976 over 2a. Alright, you could just put negative 32. Okay, so that's negative 5. Okay, negative 5 seconds. Alright, that is extraneous. You can't have negative time. Alright, can't go back in time. So throw that out and it'll be the other one. So we're doing the minus version now, so we just need to change this to a minus, and you don't have to type it all in again. Use your up arrow key to highlight it, hit enter, and then now you can just left arrow your way over until you get to that plus sign. Change it to a minus and hit enter. So we get 6. Okay, that's 6 seconds. Okay, so that's the solution to this equation. So remember what we were doing. We had plugged in 0 for the height because we wanted to find the time that it takes to hit the water, the time that it takes to hit 0 feet. So we put in 0 feet and we just calculated and found the time, 6 seconds. So that means we hit 0 feet after 6 seconds. Alright, so 6 seconds we get 0 feet. Okay. I might as well just stop the video here. Alright, didn't take me as long as it took for some of these other videos, but you know what, maybe I'll just keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna see if I can, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put number 5 on the same video. Okay, a toy rocket is launched vertically upward from the ground. We got this equation. How long will it take to return to the ground? Yada yada yada. Okay, so same type of situation. Okay, let's start over with a clean slate. Alright, it's launched upward from the ground level. So I'm just going to modify my picture slightly. Okay, so this time, so we have ground level. Okay, here's ground level. And this rocket is fired. Okay, and so this rocket is fired. It goes up, comes down. And what do they want to know? How long will it take for the rocket to return to the ground? Okay, so if we're talking about the ground, we are talking about this position right here. Okay, if we're talking about hitting the ground again, we're talking about the height equaling 0. Alright, so we know that the height is 0 feet, but we want to find the time that goes with that. So we'll need the equation for that. So let's just steal this. Just going to cut and paste it over here. Okay, so here's the equation. If the height is 0 feet, then I can just plug in 0 for the height. So that gives me 0 is equal to 16 t squared plus 128 t. Okay, so I just need to solve this for t right now. So I'm going to use the quadratic formula like I often do. So just understand a couple of things. First of all, understand what A and B and C are. A is 16, B is this 128, C is 0. See how it's like missing? Alright, that C value is the initial height, but this rocket was fired straight from the ground. Okay, so that's why the initial height is 0. Anyway, so we're going to solve this using the quadratic formula, which means we're going to start with the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. So that would be 128 squared minus 4 times 16 times 0. Now look, if you're multiplying by 0, anything you multiply by 0 is 0. So that means this term is 0. So it's gone. So really it's just 128 squared. Okay, so slide to the right. So 128 squared is all it is. So 16,384 is our discriminant. Okay, so that's the discriminant. So now let's do the rest of the quadratic formula. So the time will equal opposite of b, so negative 128, plus or minus the square root, discriminant, all over 2a. 2 times 16 is 32. I'm just going to put 32. Okay, now we can put this into our calculator. We'll put it in once with a positive version and once with a negative version. Start off in fraction mode. So negative 128 plus, so negative 128 plus square root 16,384 over, wait, wasn't this negative? I'm not doing negative this time. Okay, it's not negative. Alright, whatever. Alright, now that I think about it, this equation has to be wrong. I'm not sure where this equation came from, but it can't be a positive 16. If this is a positive 16, then we're talking about an upward facing parabola. Okay, we don't have a rocket that's going to go down and back up again. Alright, we need a downward facing parabola, so it goes up and comes down like it should. But it'll only be downward facing if this is a negative 16 t squared. So it has to be negative. So let's just make that change. Alright, so that makes this a negative 16. Fortunately, that's not going to change anything we've done so far. That's going to make this a negative 16, but still that term goes away anyway. So when I do my 2a all over 2a, that's 2 times negative 16, so that just is going to make this a negative 32. So we don't have to do anything all over again, thank goodness. Okay, so just I just had a feeling that this had to be negative 32. So I hope I remember to tell you that before you're just doing it wrong on the video. So anyway, kabam. So this version gives me 0 for an answer. Okay, so that makes sense. We're asking when the object is going to be on the ground, but it starts off on the ground. So of course at time 0 it's on the ground. But that's just not the one we're asking about. We want to know how long until it reaches the ground again, comes back to the ground. So we'll ignore this one. It's not that it doesn't make any sense, it's just the one we already knew. So let's go ahead and do the minus version now. Okay, for the minus version, we don't have to type it all in again. Just come up, highlight it, hit enter, left arrow your way over. Okay, change it to a minus and hit enter. So that's 8. Okay, time equals 8 seconds. So that's how long it takes to get back to the ground again, 8 seconds. Alright, and you better show your work. Alright, I'm showing my work here. You'll show your work like on the paper. Now, after how many seconds will the rocket be 112 feet above the ground? Okay, so at some point along the way, the rocket is at 112 feet. Okay, but all we care about is the height. The height is 112 feet. So let's see, do I have room over here? No, I'll have to do it over here. Let me just move this over. Okay, so if the height is going to be 112 feet, Yeah, I'll do it over here. And yeah, don't forget, this is negative. Got to be negative or it doesn't make sense. So they're just giving us that the height is 112 feet. So just plug in, substitute 112 for that height. So this is going to become 112 equals negative 16 t squared plus 128 t. So we just need to solve this for the time because they're asking after how many seconds. So how do we do this? We just subtract 112 from both sides. Okay, so that's going to give us 0 equals negative 16 t squared plus 128 t minus 112. Okay, so we need to solve this for t. Okay, so if we solve this for t, again we're just using the quadratic formula. So let's go ahead and do the discriminant. Alright, our b squared minus 4ac. So that's going to be 128 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 112. Okay. Let's just put a line between this. It's good work. Alright, so let's calculate our discriminant. So it's 128 squared Okay, so I'm getting 9,216 for the discriminant. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do the rest of the quadratic formula. So time will equal opposite of b, so negative 128, plus or minus square root, and there goes the discriminant, all over 2a. A is negative 16, so 2a will be negative 32. Alright, and we can put this in our calculator, once with a plus and once with a minus. Okay, so if I put this in to my calculator, start off in fraction mode. So we have a negative 128 plus square root 9,216 over negative 32. Alright, that gives us 1 second. Okay, now let's do it again with the minus version. Okay, just go back, highlight it, hit enter, and now we can just change the plus to a minus real quick. 7 seconds. Okay, we're getting two answers because, alright, we want to know where the rocket is at 112 feet. Well, that's going to happen twice. It's going to be 112 feet once on the way up, and then it'll be 112 feet again on the way down. So apparently on the way up, it hit after 1 second, and then on the way down, it was after 7 seconds. Okay, so both are valid. So after how many seconds will the rocket be 112 feet above the ground? 1 second and 7 seconds. How long will it take the rocket to reach its maximum height? Okay, if we're talking about the maximum height, we are talking about the vertex. Okay, we're talking about the vertex now. So let's find this maximum height. Let's find the vertex. If we want to find the vertex, then we need to do the opposite of b over 2a. Okay, we're looking for the time and the height of the vertex. So let's start by finding the time of the vertex by doing opposite of b over 2a. Okay, so looking at our little formula there, opposite of b, so that's negative 128. And 2a, so remember a is negative 16, so 2a is negative 32. Okay. Oops. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so we already know. 128 over 32, so I keep doing that. Okay, that's 4. Seconds. Okay, so that is the time of the vertex is 4 seconds. Alright, let's find the height that goes with that. Alright, we'll find the height by putting this into the table function of the calculator. We could also do it by simply plugging in 4 for t. Okay, either way. You know what? Let me show it by plugging in 4 for t this time. I do it so often the other way. Let me show it this way for once. Okay, especially since it's a pretty simple equation. So if I plug in 4 for t, so we have the equation is negative 16 t squared, and I'm plugging in 4 for t. So that's going to be negative 16 t squared becomes negative 16 times 4 squared, and then it's plus 128t. So that'll be plus 128 times 4. Okay, so that's 256. Alright, so 256 is the height that goes with this time. 256 feet. Alright, so this is the vertex, alright? The highest point after 4 seconds, 256 feet. That's the maximum. So this will help us answer these last 2 questions. Okay, so how long will it take the rocket to reach its maximum height? 4 seconds. And what is the maximum height? 256 feet. Okay, so I probably should have made this a separate video. I still might go back and split it up. But either way, this is definitely the end of this video. I'll see you on the next video. I guess I'll put 6 and 7 on one more video. Alright, I don't see all these parts to it, so maybe I can do 6 and 7 more quickly. See you on the next video, guys.